everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on the R.E.M. Beauty Sweet Concealers and Lunar Magic Primer. If you do want to see a review and a demo, then please keep watching. As a huge favor, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment anything down below. I greatly appreciate it. I read all the comments and I will do my best to reply back. The Lunar Magic Blurring Primer, this retails for $29. I do want to read a little bit about this primer on Ulta's website. R.E.M. Beauty Lunar Magic Blurring Primer is more than just a primer. It's the last step of skincare and the first step of makeup. It blurs the look of pores and uneven texture and creates a smooth canvas for makeup that lasts all day. Offers a soft sensorial tingle that cools on contact. Each concealer retails for $24 and comes in 60 shades. I do want to read a little bit about these concealers on Ulta's website. R.E.M. Beauty Sweet Concealer applies with a smooth, lightweight veil and can be layered to customize coverage with a soft matte finish. Conceal, correct, highlight, brighten, contour, and carve. Touch up or use all over face. Every pot is full of multitasking potential. With my purchase, it came with a free Dream Cloud blender. This retails for $15 on Ulta's website. I thought the blender would be a little bit bigger. Here's a closer look on what the packaging looks like, and then here's what the back looks like. It's really tiny, but it does feel very squishy. Here's what it looks like dampened. It did expand a bit, still feels a little bit squishy. Let's see what this primer is all about. Here's a closer look on what the primer packaging looks like. It says R.E.M. Beauty Lunar Magic Blurring Primer. You get 30 milliliters of product or 1 fluid ounce. On the side of the packaging, you have a little description and the directions. On this side, you have the list of ingredients. It does state that this was made in Korea. And then here's what the back looks like. Here's what the tube looks like. It says R.E.M. Beauty. It looks like they didn't fill it up all the way. They just filled it up to here. I'm missing product. And then here's what the back looks like. You have some directions, and then down at the bottom it does state that this has a 12-month shelf life. It does come with a safety seal. Here's what the primer looks like. It does have a blue tint. The back of my hand does look a bit blurring. Hopefully this works. I'm gonna take a little bit on my finger, this much. We'll do this side of my face. I didn't apply anything on my skin, so I don't have any moisturizer, primer, nothing. This is going on my bare skin. I'll just apply it on one side. I'm concentrating the primer where I'll be applying the concealer. So that's right underneath my eye, a little bit where my hyperpigmentation is, and then I'm dragging it down to my cheek. Here's what the primer looks like. So again, we have the primer on this side and there's nothing on this side. I honestly don't see a difference. Now let's see what these concealers look like. Again, I purchased 3 different shades because I wasn't sure which one to get. Here's a closer look on what the packaging looks like. It says Sweet Concealer. Below that you have the shade name. This shade is Tan 1N. You get 8 grams of product or 0.28 ounces. Right below that you have a little description, and then it says R.E.M. Beauty. And then again, you have the shade name printed up at the top. On this side of the packaging, you have the list of ingredients. It does state that this was made in Italy. On the other side, it doesn't really say much. On the back, it just says it in a different language. Here's what the pot concealer looks like. It says R.E.M. Beauty. On the bottom, you have the shade name printed, and it does come with a plastic spatula. Let's see what this shade looks like. Here's what the inside looks like. I'm going to be using this little spatula to scoop some product. I think that should be enough. Tan 1N is described as tan with neutral pink undertones. I want to blend this out. Oh wow, this is thick. I think I applied too much product on the back of my hand. The second shade I purchased is Tan 2CN. Let's see what this shade looks like. I'm only going to be taking this much. Tan 2CN is described as tan with cool neutral undertones. Again, I'm going to blend this out. I feel like this shade might work for me. The last shade I purchased is called Tan 3W. Let's see what Tan 3W looks like. Tan 3W is described as tan with warm golden undertones. Again, I'm going to blend this out. Here's what all three shades look like swatched on the back of my hand. On the left side, I'm gonna apply a little bit of the shade in Tan 2. I have a little bit on my spatula. Using my fingertip, I'm gonna apply some. The concealer is very thick, don't need a lot of product. Whoa, this concealer is full coverage. I only used a little bit on my spatula. Look at the coverage. I applied way too much product, dragging it down the rest of my face. I totally forgot to use the beauty sponge. I'll use it on this side where the primer is. I wasn't planning on applying the concealer to my entire face, but here we are. Here's what the shade in Tan 2CN looks like. I definitely think the concealer is full coverage. You can see a little bit of my hyperpigmentation peeking through. The concealer blended out so easily using my fingertip, and it is very creamy as well. On the right side of my face, I'm going to be applying the shade in Tan 3W. Again, taking very little on my spatula. Now that I have the concealer placed, let's blend it out using the beauty sponge. The sponge is nice and soft. I like how it feels on my skin, but it did take away a lot of the coverage. I'm gonna go back in, taking a little bit more of the shade in Tan 3W. I'll just use my fingertip this time to blend it out. I like how it blends out using my fingertip. You don't necessarily need the sponge, but it is nice. I mean, I got it for free, but I wouldn't spend $15 on the sponge. Here's what the shade in Tan 3W looks like. It's definitely warmer. I'm taking a little bit of the shade in Tan 2CN. I'm just gonna apply it to my forehead. Wait a minute, the concealer oxidized. I'm gonna be doing fresh swatches as well of each shade. Here's what the concealers look like. Here's what the shade in Tan 2CN looks like. And then we have the shade in Tan 3W. Here's what the swatches look like dried down. Taking a little bit more of the shade in Tan 1N. Here's what it looks like freshly swatched, and here's what it looks like dried down. It did oxidize a bit. Taking a little bit of the shade in Tan 2CN. Here's what the shade in Tan 2CN looks like. Here's what it looks like freshly swatched, and then here's what it looks like dried down. Again, it did dry down a bit darker. Lastly, taking a little bit of the shade in Tan 3W. Here's what the shade in Tan 3W looks like. Again, freshly swatched and then dried down. This formula does dry down darker. I'm going to set underneath my eyes with a little bit of Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. I'm first going to get rid of the creases. I have a little bit of powder. I'm going to apply a little bit of mascara. This is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. Here's one last look on how everything looks like. I will check back in at the end of the night to see how the concealer performs, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it is the end of the night of me testing out the R.E.M Beauty Sweetener Concealer. Here's how it wore throughout my day. It did end up creasing after I set it with setting powder. I'm going to look up so you can see. I'm not sure why it creased. I'm super shiny at the end of the day. I did not get a chance to blot. I do want to point out that the concealer did cling on to some of the dry patches I have on this side. I'm not sure if my camera is going to pick it up. As for the primer side, I don't think it blurred anything. My skin looks exactly the same as it does on this side. The concealers did oxidize. It did dry down darker. For some reason, I look like an Oompa Loompa. I'm looking very orange in person. I don't like how the concealers dried down. I do want to do a blotting test. I'll blot the right side where we put the primer. Here's how much of the concealer came off on the blotting tissue. Here's what my skin looks like after I blotted. I look a little bit mattified after I blotted, but I feel like there's not much concealer left. I want to see how the concealer looks like on top of foundation. I will check back in tomorrow and I will see you then. Hey guys, it's day 2 of me testing out the R.E.M Beauty Sweetener Concealer. I just finished cleansing my skin and I applied my, I believe, True Cream Aqua Bomb Moisturizer. I do want to test out the blurring primer again. I didn't see a difference yesterday when I used it on one side of my face. This time I'm going to be applying it all over, taking just a little bit on the back of my hand. I think this should be enough for my entire face. Applying this all over. Here's what my face looks like with the blurring primer. I'm looking at the primer up close in the mirror. I honestly can't tell a difference. My skin doesn't seem to be blurred. For foundation, I'm going to be applying the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in the shade Toasty Toffee. Using a foundation brush, I'm going to blend this out. Here's what one layer of the foundation looks like. I'm going to be applying the shade in Tan 1N, taking a little bit on the spatula. Using my finger, I'll apply this all over. I'm going to let the concealer sit for a bit while I fill in my eyebrows. Going back in with my foundation brush, I'm going to blend out the concealer. Here's what the concealer looks like blended out using my foundation brush. I know this shade looks bright now, but it will oxidize. I'm going to set the concealer with the Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. Here's what the concealer looks like set with powder. I love how everything is looking so far. I'm going to apply a little bit of my L'Oreal powder bronzer just to give warmth back to the skin. For mascara, I'm going to apply the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I won't be applying blush on top of the concealer. I want to see how the concealer wears with setting powder. Tomorrow we'll apply blush on top. Here's one last look on what everything looks like. I will check back in at the end of the night to see how the concealer performs, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it is the end of the night of me testing out the R.E.M Beauty Sweetener Concealer. Here's how it wore throughout my day. I expected the concealer to oxidize a little bit more. It looks really good, but again, it creased underneath my eyes. I'm gonna look up so you can see. As you can see, it creased significantly underneath my eyes. I love how the concealer wore throughout my day. The only thing that I don't like is that it creased on me. I didn't get a chance to blot throughout my day. I do have a blotting tissue here. Let's blot the right side. Here's how much oil came off. Here's what the right side of my face looks like after I blotted. Again, it looks really good versus the other side where I did not blot. Tomorrow I will be testing out the shade in Tan 2CN. I will check back in tomorrow and I will see you then. Hey guys, it is day 3 of me testing out the R.E.M Beauty Sweetener Concealer. I made sure to moisturize underneath my eyes because I don't want this concealer to crease on me like it's been doing the past 2 days. I already moisturized my skin. For moisturizer, I went in with my Belief True Cream Aqua Bomb. For primer, I applied my One Size Secure the Blur Primer. I'm going to be applying the same foundation as I did yesterday, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in the shade Toasty Toffee. Using a foundation brush, I'm going to blend out the foundation. Today I'm going to be applying the shade in Tan 2CN. Again, taking a little bit on the spatula, applying it directly to the skin. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit while I fill in my eyebrows. Using a clean brush, I'm going to blend this out. Using my damp beauty blender, I'm going to go over it. I'm going to set everything with the Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. Here's what the concealer looks like set with setting powder. For bronzer, I'm going to apply the shade In Saddle from ABH. For blush, I'm going to apply the shade In Radiant Pink from Gucci. I'm going to set everything with MAC Fix Plus. For mascara, I'm going to apply the Essence Lash Princess. This is a false effect mascara. For lips, I'm going to apply the shade In Modesty from MAC. Here's what everything looks like. I will check back in at the end of the night to see how the concealer performs, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it is the end of the night of me testing out the R.E.M. Beauty Sweetener Concealer in the shade Tan 2CN. Here's how it wore throughout my day. I love how the concealer looks like at the end of the night. It did end up creasing underneath my eyes once again. I'm gonna look up so you can see. I don't know why this formula creases on me, otherwise I really do love the coverage. I didn't get a chance to blot throughout my day. I do have a blotting paper. Let's see how much oil comes off. Here's what the blotting tissue looks like. Here's what the right side of my face looks like after I blotted. Not too bad. I will continue to test out the concealers throughout this entire week. I will check back in towards the end of the week for my final thoughts, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it is the end of the week of me testing out the R.E.M. Beauty Sweetener concealers. My final thoughts on this concealer is that I wanted to love it. I love the coverage, but it just creases throughout my day. I made sure to moisturize underneath my eyes, but it still ends up creasing. I currently have the shade in Tan 3W applied underneath both eyes. You don't need a lot of product. A little bit goes a very long way. Use the spatula, just scoop up a little bit. I just use my fingertip and I blend it out, and it blends out beautifully. The coverage is amazing. I just don't like how the formula creases on me throughout my day. The sponge is cute, but it's just too dense for my liking. The blurring primer is not blurring at all. You can still see my pores. I currently have the primer on and you can see every little pore. I feel like this blurring primer enhances my pores. I don't like it at all. Don't think it's worth the price. Let me know in the comments down below if you have tried this concealer. If you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video.